Welcome to a special edition of Rebound Off the Net as we preview the Arizona Bandits 2025 season. I'm your host, Joshua Cox. The Arizona Bandits enter their inaugural season and will compete in the West Division, which includes the Billings Outlaws, Oregon Lightning, and Washington Wolfpack. The Bandits look to make a statement as they enter 2025. Here to help us preview the Bandits is head coach Chad DeGrenier. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Doing great. Coach, tell folks a little bit about your journey in the arena game, how you got involved in this game, kind of brand of football.
I got involved through some guys that I was training with, getting ready for the NFL Combine, and I was rehabbing a leg injury, and then they said, "Hey, there's arena football here in Arizona with the Rattlers, and Danny White's the coach, and you should come do the open tryout." And so, here I am, 20 years later, 25 years later, looking to coach. But so I started playing back in 1997 with the Rattlers and played through 2002 and then 2 years in Carolina. And so love the game, love what it's about, and love the fast pace. And obviously being a former quarterback at Washington State, love the ability to throw touchdown passes.
You played with Sed Bonner during that time in Arizona. I was told how was that, and what was it like, kind of being his backup?
Well, Sid Bonner's like playing with Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady. You get to play with the best of the best, and in that game. And so, great athlete, great guy. And obviously, I was surrounded by a lot of great players. So, it was an honor to be a part of that team and be his backup. But always was trying to push him for that starting job.
Absolutely. Did you win some rings there in Arizona?
I happen to be the one guy that lost in a couple, actually 2 or 3 arena bowls. So I never got a ring. So I'm in search for that, and that's one of the things that's driving me with this team.
Absolutely, yeah. How did you get involved with the Bandits? What was that process like, and how did arena football becoming a coach come on your radar here?
I coached and was a GM in 2009 in the indoor league out in Utah. And so then one of the players that played for me there, kind of stayed involved in the game. And Matt Mason is the general manager, owner, and kind of brought it back here to Arizona. And obviously, I think Arizona definitely has the ability to have 2 arena teams here. It's big enough. The city's growing so fast. It's one of the fastest growing cities in the country. And so he talked to me about it, and, then the right fit. I'm a teacher and a coach as well. So just, not being able to have to leave or do anything like that. Stay around my family. It just was a great opportunity, and to help him build this to a championship organization.
So, yeah, you talked a little bit your position there in Arizona. A lot of indoor football teams, including the Rattlers, who you played for early on. With all that competition, is there pressure to win early on?
Obviously there's pressure. Otherwise, why do it? The whole thing is to win. That's why you play this game, and I signed up to win. So that's the expectation I have of myself, and it's the expectation we have as an organization. So we got to put the best team on the field and figure out a way to win.
What are you doing with Matt to kind of build up the fan base there and kind of get fans engaged with your new team?
Matt's done a great job with the marketing and social media. He's got some great people doing that, and he does that himself. So, you know, uh, likes to throw out some videos and stuff that maybe maybe a little loud for my taste, being a quarterback. But in this day and age, that's kind of what gets people excited and gets people talking. So, we're going to have to answer the bell with some of the stuff that's kind of been put out there. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I looked at your all schedule. I got Billings 3 times, the reigning champs. You also got the Albany Firebirds on the docket. What do you think about your all schedule this year?
Well, excited to play my old teammate Sed Walker. That'll be fun to be on the arena with him 3 times. So we'll see who comes out on top. In the regular season, and then obviously Albany is obviously very very good. So, but every team that we play is good. So all the guys have been working hard in our coaches meetings and stuff like that. So it's going to be a exciting season, and everybody's getting ready for that first game. So we'll see where we're at. But honestly, the only thing that matters right now is the Oregon Lightning. They're our first game, so.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to talk about the Lightning a little bit. We're talking about your division, Billings, Washington, Oregon. What are your thoughts on this division overall and kind of the teams you're going to face against the most?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, obviously Montana's, they're the reigning champs, so that makes our division obviously one of the toughest in the league. So obviously being ready for them, and then obviously doing what we got to do against the other teams. So it's gonna be tough, and obviously being a new team and some of the guys that we have, just learning the game and learning how we do things. Everybody does things differently, but excited to see what we do. I'm excited for that first game.
How do you feel about the league overall as we enter year one in the AF1?
Well, I think part of the reason I wanted to be a part of this and blessed to be the head coach is just I think the Jerry Curse and the people that we have in place, obviously Gary Compton and some of the guys that I know and were part of the original AFL are part of this, and I think that's going to make for a very stable league. And as we build onto obviously we're right here getting about to start year one. And then I think as we build into year two, I just think there's a lot of pieces in place that to make it a good, solid organization from a standpoint of AF1 standpoint, and just making it kind of the best in the indoor game of how we do things. And that's kind of their mission. And that's what I love about it. At the end of the day, if you're going to do something, be the best at it.
Let's dive into your roster here. First off, let's talk about the roster overall. What have you kind of looked for as you started to build this roster for this team?
I mean, obviously, Matt and I have done a lot working on creating a good. He's done a great job on looking at the defensive side with creating a good defensive front, and then obviously fast forward to the offense. Obviously, having a good quarterback. Obviously, really excited about him coming in, Malik, and then we got a couple good backups that you're going to be fighting for that job, but good receivers. I mean, everybody that we have, I think, is excited about this team and what we got building in Arizona. And so, it's going to be a tough camp, when you got to cut down to 24 guys, they got their work cut out for them because, it's a very small roster versus, I think, believe back when I played, you got to have 30 guys on the roster, with the practice squad and all that kind of stuff. So only having 24 is going to make it, a little bit tougher. And, even though it's not Ironman, it's still Ironman because, you got to be ready to go every week. So 24 guys got to play 12 games. So you better be ready to go.
We're going to talk about the position groups. You talked about a little bit. We're going to go start with quarterback, Malik Henry. Big splash signing right there, opened a lot of people's eyes. Tell us a little bit about him and kind of the other guys you got competing with him for that starting job.
Yeah, I mean, he just, he has the most arena experience. The other two guys have not played arena ball. Very good quarterbacks, but Malik has done a great job. He's a great athlete. I even talked to some people that I hold in high regard in the arena game and know a little bit about Malik, and he's just a solid player. He can make all the throws. Great athlete, and just even the conversations we've had on the phone, he's a student of the game and a very bright young kid. So I'm excited to work with him and build this team with him, and it's gonna be fun.
Let's talk about the fullback position now. How do you plan to use that? I know a lot of people's been more or less using it as a running back position. How do you see that, and maybe who's some guys that might get carries there?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, I'm not gonna dive too much into the running back position because we got some guys that are going to compete for that, and I don't know that. I mean, at the end of the day, once you get inside the 5-yard line, you better be able to run the ball because that's a tight space to throw passes. So we got to have a good guy in that position that's ready to can get physical, get vertical, and obviously punch that into the end zone. So we got some guys, and it's going to be fun to see who comes out on top.
Yeah. Let's go receivers now. Akil Greer, Drebin Macon, Barry Beavers. Tell us about your receiving corps.
The biggest thing about those guys is we got a great coach. And Andre, who's going to do a great job with those guys who played. played in the league, played in the Arena League. So I'm excited to see what he does with those guys to bring their game up. He's a very intense coach. Just being around him, I love his fire, and I'm excited to watch those guys kind of gravitate to him and his passion for the game of football. So Coach Thurman's going to do a great job, and I'm excited to see how that receiving core grows. I think he's going to bring a lot out of those guys that people haven't seen.
Let's talk about your O-line and D-line. Do you plan on a lot of those guys playing both ways? And tell us a little about each front of the ball. I know the D-line's pretty stacked for you all. So.
Yeah, the D line, obviously, like I said, Matt's done a great job getting those guys signed, and he has a passion for that position, being that what he played at Arizona State. But he's also offensive line because was center as well, and so he wants us to be both. Obviously, he wants us to get after the quarterback on defense, and then he expects us to throw a lot of touchdown passes on the other side. So they're both going to have to be very good. And the great thing about it is having a good D line like that's going to make our O line even better with how they do things. So it'll be a good way to have camp and a good way to compete every day against each other and make each other better. But I don't know. We'll have probably a couple guys that go both ways, but not too much.
Yeah. Let's look at the linebacker position. I know you brought in Jeremiah Spicer. I've interviewed him. I really like him. He's a good dude. Tell us a little about that linebacker position.
Yeah, like I said, it's wide open for me first year and stuff like that. And again, this is finding the right guys. Jeremiah Spicer's a great young kid who's obviously done a lot of good things, and love his story. So just there's guys in the room that are competing for jobs, and again, when you get down to 24 guys, there's some of those guys are going to have to play both ways, being a receiver and Mac and Mike and Jack and all that stuff. So it's finding that best fit. So, and again, I think we have some guys in that room, especially at that linebacker position, are going to compete hard, and it's going to be a tough decisions to make as we kind of build that roster.
Let's get a couple more. We've got couple more position groups. Defensive back, Jason Armstrong, Christian Maddox, Carl Evans Jr., Alfonso Taylor. Tell us about your defensive backfield.
Yeah, I think they're good. We have another one too that we just signed who played some arena balls too, and so that's probably the toughest just because it's kind of like a baseball hitter. You gotta you're only going to be successful so many times, and the offense is going to score. So having that short term memory, who's going to be the most mentally tough to play those positions, because that's the hardest thing to do. And I was fortunate to play with a lot of good guys in Arizona, that had that short-term memory and just kept coming and bringing it and competed on every play. And that's really what I'm looking for out of that position. So that's probably the most interesting when going into camp, just because of just that mentality you have to have at that position.
Last position, your kicker, Morsada. Tell us a little about him and special teams kind of overall.
Oh man, I love kickers are amazing. I been blessed to be with a lot of good kickers when I played, from Ignacio Braque to Kyle Pooler and Chris Saylor, who runs one of the biggest kicking camps in the country. The kicking game is huge, and he's got a leg. Alex Endejas, who's out here in Arizona, helped us find him, who does a great job with kickers here in the state of Arizona. So he is solid. I'm hoping. Hopefully we get a couple deuces here, through the uprights on kickoffs.
Absolutely. What's going to be your message to your team as you enter training camp here in about a week or so?
Honestly, is they need to be ready to go. As Danny White used to tell us, you get banged up, this, that, the other, you better be out on the practice field, because I know it's the old cliche, you can't make the club in the tub, but I know what I had to fight through when I was playing to keep my spot on the roster, just to be the backup to Sed. And so it's a grind. And so you better be ready. And we have a great and sponsorship with Human Blue, who does a great job in the rehab facility stuff. And so very thankful for them and what they'll be able to provide those guys to make sure they're on the practice field every day. But definitely excited about camp.
Absolutely. You talked about Danny White there a little bit. What did you learn from Danny White about coaching?
Danny White, you better know your stuff. Otherwise, get on the bus and get out. There wasn't a whole lot of, grace, let's just say. He taught me how to be a pro, honestly, and how to approach everything. And then obviously Sid and Hunky were huge mentors to me. Just anytime I got frustrated, coming alongside, just like, hey, you just got to keep grinding, know your stuff. And so there's a lot of little things that I learned through that. But we had a playbook that was very thick, and Danny expected you to know it all, and we didn't go over it all. I can tell you that. But when he called that play, he expected you to know it. So that's what I would challenge any guy coming to the Bandits camp to be ready to go and know what they got to do.
Do you have championship aspirations for year one? What are your goals for year one here?
To win, obviously, and then obviously have a great product on the field, excitement, and really embrace the fans. That's part of the job of this game. Is as a player, you got to embrace the fans. That is, first and foremost, because once they feel a part of the game, you're just going to sell more tickets. Obviously, to win, and at the end of the day, just get in the playoffs. Because once you get in the playoffs, it's 0-0, and then see if you can make a run. And at the end of the day, is whoever's the hottest at the end is what matters. And obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles definitely proved that the other night, last night, and obviously with their defense. That's kind of the mission and the mantra that I'll be preaching to the guys.
Yeah, lastly, message to the Bandits fans out there.
Hey, get your tickets. Those should be on sale here by the end of the week, and it's going to be a hot item, and we're going to be a lot of fun to watch, and it'll be a great venue, and don't hesitate. It's going to be fun.
Coach, appreciate your time tonight. We look forward to talking to you again this season.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.